Today is Friday, April 7th, and we're going to go around the bases with our MLB insider at the New York Post, Jon Heyman. Jon, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing well. We're obviously a week and a half into the season now, and we want to start off with the New York Mets. They haven't gotten off to the greatest start here this season, 3-4. They obviously have their home opener today. And it's been a struggle for their ace pitcher, Max Scherzer. He has not gone the distance in a couple of these games, and he seems to have worn down a couple of times. And you wrote a column yesterday about how this Mets pitching staff, which is on the older side, could struggle with the new pitch clock rules. What more can you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, this is perhaps the best ranked pitching rotation in the game, but it is the oldest pitching rotation in the game. This is one thing we really weren't figuring on. I mean, Scherzer's certainly working and understanding the clock, and he understands it better than anybody, but he is 38 years old. They have four pitchers that are in their mid-30s or later. Carrasco, 36. Quintana, when he comes back, he's still going to be 34, we hope, when he comes back. Verlander, 40 years old. And this is an issue. The pitch clock is not the issue for a violation, a ball here or there. That's not the big issue. The issue is that it is taxing and tiring to keep throwing these pitches within 15 seconds. And also, frankly, the other innings where the Mets are batting are shorter, not just because they're not doing great right now, but innings are shorter at this point with a pitch clock on both sides. So it's a bit taxing for a 30-something pitcher, particularly late 30 pitcher. And, I brought it up to Verlander. He didn't bring it up to me. He's not looking to make excuses. He says it's on me. He's got to do something about it. But he acknowledges that it is a factor, and it will be a factor for the Mets, at least for the time being. Right now, we might have, the two most expensive pitchers in the game once Verlander come back on a little bit more quicker pitch count. So not ideal, certainly an issue for the Mets. Scherzer will do whatever he can to work it out, figure it out, and I always have faith in him, but it's certainly an issue.
Yeah, Max Scherzer's always been that guy you can give the ball every fifth day, and it seems like he can give you, 100 plus pitches, and he'll give you his best effort. One interesting thing that grabbed me from your column yesterday, Jon, was that a scout said that he could turn into a possible 75-pitch pitcher. Is that possible for Max Scherzer? Could we see that happen?
Well, his first two starts, he looked very good through 5 innings. The sixth inning, he did not look as good. And I think that is due to the pitch clock and just a little bit of tiring. You get a little bit off. That makes a big difference at the major league level. Give up 3 straight home runs in Milwaukee to the Brewers in the sixth inning. They also did not have a great result down in South Florida in the sixth inning. So I did win that game. At the moment, it could be the case that he's a 75-pitch pitcher, and got to wonder about the other guys. Carrasco also said he actually said that he was tired after the game, that it did affect him in that fifth inning where he walked 2 guys, then came out of the game. Scherzer didn't say anything after the games, but after talking to a few scouts, I did approach him, and certainly he understands that it is an issue at the moment.
Yeah, and I think Carrasco, obviously, his velocity was down a little bit in his last start, too, so it will be something to watch with this entire Mets pitching staff, especially when Justin Verlander comes back from the injured list. Jon, let's pivot to our next subject here in the Cardinals. Manager Oli Marmol called out Tyler O'Neill for a lack of hustle, rounding third, heading home, was thrown out by Ronald Acuna Jr. on Tuesday against the Braves. What did you make of the manager straight up calling out his player?
Well, this is obviously not the Cardinal way. We talk about the Cardinal way in baseball. It's certainly not about airing dirty laundry. We in the media appreciate this kind of honesty. At least this is Oli's perspective of things. Obviously, he felt that he did not hustle. O'Neill's perspective, of course, is that he's had some leg injuries over the last couple of years that have been very frustrating for him and for the team, and he's kind of working on a new gait so he doesn't have these injuries again. It did not look good. He was not running particularly fast with this new gait. And, obviously they're frustrated with the Cardinals, and this is early to be frustrated, but they are. We appreciate the honesty, but, this is not something you see from the St. Louis team very often.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You really don't see, like you said, the Cardinal way. It was very interesting to see those comments from the manager. Let's go to our next topic here and go to the Yankees. Gleyber Torres is off to a great start this season, arguably even better than Aaron Judge right now, but he's off to a great start. He was in trade rumors last year, right before the trade deadline happened. And, there was this question mark of, is Gleyber going to last through spring training? Will he be traded before the roster breaks for the season? But what can you say about Gleyber Torres right now and the performance he has? Could he still be a trade candidate for the Yankees?
Well, he's been great, obviously. And yes, he was a trade candidate last summer, trade candidate in the winter. The Yankees were not able to make those trades they were looking at, whether it be him or IKF or Hicks or whomever. Obviously, Hicks doesn't have much trade value, but it was difficult to figure out. Donaldson was another guy they were looking at. And again, his contract too high. Gleyber, I think, is worth his contract. He makes about $10 million a year. And you would think they would have been able to make a trade for him, but they weren't. And that right now is to their benefit. I would say that it's like stocks. The stock is way up now. And at this point, if you're smart, you think about trading them or selling as if it was a stock. And I never do. When I have a stock, I never think to sell high. You're always thinking, oh, he's great, he's going to be back, or the stock is doing great, it's going to keep going up. I personally think it's a good idea to sell high, to trade high, but teams generally do not do that. Obviously, Gleyber hit nearly 40 home runs one year, and he has it in him. He's been kind of pull happy the last few years and hasn't been quite that player or nearly that player at all. So you don't see these kind of trades in season, maybe at the deadline, but and I just don't think that they're going to even consider trading him at the moment while he's hitting so well. It would be difficult to do it. It's probably the smarter thing to do is to trade high, but teams don't do it. And maybe the Yankees think he's found something where he can be back to that player that he was a few years ago.
Yeah, I think even what's more interesting about Gleyber and what he's gone off to this great start is the walks. He's actually getting on base a little bit more,
right,
and he seems to have a better approach so far this season, and hopefully that continues. Let's finish up, John. Bring this all home. Obviously, like I said, we're only a week and a half into the season. What is the biggest surprise for you that you observed that so far this season?
Yeah, I should say the Rays because I never get that right. But, it's early and they played the Tigers and the Nats so far. So I'm not going to give up on my prediction on the Rays. But the Phillies, I mean, what is going on there? They look terrible. I cannot believe it. Maybe I was influenced at the WBC where a third of that all-star lineup were Phillies with Schwarber and Realmuto and Turner. And Turner was the best player, at least position player for the U.S. team at the WBC. I thought this team would be fantastic. They were World Series team last year. They started poorly last year under Joe Girardi, much improved throughout the season. Then in the winter, they had a great winter with Turner and Taijuan Walker, Kimbrel, Soto. I love their winter. I love what they did, and they are just not doing it for me or for Philadelphia, frankly. I think the people down there are more upset than I am. But I had them winning this division, and they have looked terrible to this point as we do this. I still have faith. I'm still keeping the faith. It's only 1 week. We're only 2 or 3% through the season. I still think they're a playoff team at least, but it has not been a good start for the Phillies.
It really hasn't. Obviously, it was a rough series against the Yankees. They obviously did get their first win of the season in that series, but we'll see how it goes. John, thank you so much for going around the base with us, man, and giving us all your insight.
Thanks, Ryan.